Okay, so another thing Christopher West calls it is, we want information about the body, right? Good information, but most of us have been raised on a starvation diet. Nobody ever told us anything about sex, except don't do it, right? And we got this idea that it was kind of bad, but then we're realizing, no, it's not bad, it's really good, actually. But nobody tells us anything about it, or how to live chastity, or what to do with our desires, or that we're supposed to be able to overcome lust eventually in this life. So we go to the junk food. He also calls it the dumpster. We're so hungry, we're starving, we have that ache inside, so we go to the dumpster. And we feed ourselves there. And then we feel bad. We're eating the dumpster, and we go back to the starvation diet. Christopher has the best analogies and metaphors and images. So recently he said it's like, you know those like lotto balls that are bouncing around in that air thing? And they're, right? He goes, all those little balls are like repression and indulgence bouncing around together. He goes, and we need redemption. You know, when they get the one winning, it goes up through the vacuum. That's redemption of the body, not the back and forth. Okay. So we need a banquet. We need the real deal. We need the banquet of the body and true love and true sex. Okay, so sex comes from the heart of God. God invented sex. He can't be that bad, right? But we've taken, so this by the way is the Trinity, for those who don't know. It's a very famous icon, Andrei Rublev, Russian iconographer, and it's the Trinity. Even though they're angels because remember when Abraham had the 3 visitors? And they call them angels, but we really believe it was the Trinity that actually visited Abraham. So, sex comes from the heart of God, but this is what we've done with sex. We've taken it out of the heart of God. We know it's really, really good. We don't know what to do with it, so we kick it around like a football. And then we look back at God, and there's this gaping hole in God. We're like, well, I don't know about this. I know about this, and I don't see any of that over here, so I don't need this. Does that make sense? So we wind up not understanding sex or God, because they belong together. What if we bought a really expensive sports car, but we didn't read the manual, we put the wrong kind of gas in it, we didn't know how to change gears, etc., and it's not working right. It's not working as good as it could, right? So we just keep putting the wrong gas in there, we keep doing all crazy things to it. Is it ever going to work well and properly and good for us if we don't read the instruction manual and do it right? No. So let's not just blame the culture for this, because there's a lot of religious people that do this too, right? So if we take sex out of the heart of God, that could either be indulgence or repression, because they're both saying the same thing. Sex has nothing to do with God. Right? So some non-believers say sex is too good for God. And some believers say God is too good for sex. Okay? So if sex isn't from God, what is it? What the heck is it? Right? And that means it's not sacred either, if it's not coming from the heart of God. So, Satan hates you. He hates God. He hates love. He hates life. He hates sex. What? Yep, Satan hates sex because he knows what it really is. He hates men. He hates women. He hates marriage. He hates the family. And he hates babies. New people. New little images of God. Do you know why he hates sex? Because he knows what it really is. And he pretends it's his territory. He acts like it's his. Okay. Satan knows, in theology of the body, we don't call sex, like having sex. We call it the marital embrace. Isn't that beautiful? It's called the marital embrace. Because it's not just having sex, it's the whole person. together with the whole person of infinite value, the past, the present, the future, the fights, the kids, the vacations, the work, the exhaustion, all the stuff coming together in the marital embrace. And Satan knows how good that is, and he wants to pretend it's his. And that's why he hates it. So what is the purpose of sex anyway? We're going to talk about 4 of them today. What are some of the purposes of sex?
Have babies.
Babies! See, there's always a guy that says that. Always. Even if it's like just a bunch of teens. Because guys are about the bottom line. Guys are very practical. Guys see the big picture. They know. Babies. What else? That's life. Let's call that life. Okay? So one of the purposes of sex is life.
Union.
What? Union. Yes. Let's call that love. Alright? So union and the pleasure that comes with that. Alright. So those are the 2 main purposes, but there's 2 other purposes that we probably don't think about, but we talk about all the time in Theology of the Body. Love and life. And this is why the church teaches natural family planning, because we don't want to separate love and life, ever. This doesn't mean having as many babies as you possibly can. This means natural family planning. Always keeping the marital embrace open to life. Even if there's a good chance you're not going to conceive. Okay, so the 4 purposes that we're going to talk about today of sex are... Not him. Okay. A taste of heaven. It's one of the best things we know on earth, right? Sex. It's meant to be a taste of heaven, a foretaste of heaven. And it's also a way to heaven. What? It's a sacrament, people. It's holy. It is holy. So yes, it gets you to heaven in your marriage. Okay. Satan hates God. Right? Does Satan love God? Does Satan love God? No, he doesn't. Okay. Can he get at God? Can he hurt God? Nope. Can he get at the image of God? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So where do you think he's going to attack the image of God the most? Think back to yesterday when I picked on Dusty and Michelle. Where is God going to, Satan going to attack the image of God most? Las Vegas. But it stays there, right? Marriage and family, where we're most in the image of God. Remember? Dusty and Michelle were in the image of God as 2 separate people, like even before they were married. Then they were most in the image of God, side by side, together. You can see a man and a woman. Then they get married, even more in the image of God. And then they're mostest in the image of God in the marital embrace. Yes, the one flesh union. Okay. The marital embrace does physically what the vows do spiritually. The vows that they said. The marital embrace does physically what the vows did spiritually. So the renewal of the marriage vows, the marital embrace, is part of the redemption of the body. Satan, and this is why Satan hates the body, love, marriage, family, children, babies. He loves extramarital sex. He loves sex outside of marriage, sex that is thwarted from life. He is terrified of the sacrament of marriage. Did you know that you guys are more powerful than Satan? He doesn't have a sacrament, you do. Keep it that way, okay? And that's, a lot of young people, a lot of young Catholic people are not even getting married anymore. Either not getting married or they're not getting married in the church. Chicago had, 10 years ago, 60,000 Catholic marriages. And Chicago is a growing young adult city. There's the job market's great for young adults. There's an influx, there's a rising population of young adults. Very Catholic city. 60,000 marriages 10 years ago, Catholic marriages. 16,000 last year. Catholic marriages. So, young people, do not deprive yourselves of the sacrament of marriage. It is beautiful, it is holy, it is strong. It's going to help you stay together, too. Okay. So, do you want to know what Satan's plan for your life is? God is not the only one who has a plan for your life. I'm sorry. Do you want to know what Satan's plan is? Usually people go, no, I don't want to know. No, it's better you know. It's better we know, right? Okay, so Satan has a diversified portfolio. You can choose plan A or plan B. Most people, this is Satan thinking that the body is his. He doesn't even have one. He's a pure spirit. Did you know that demonic possession is an imitation of the Incarnation? It's like a mockery of the Incarnation. Demonic possession. Okay. Sex. Gun. Okay. Plan of Satan. Okay. This is plan A. Be evil. Be really evil. Just all out there so people can see how evil you are. Most people do not choose plan A. This is plan B. Y'all know that meme?
Yeah. Okay. Scumbag Steve.
Yeah, scumbag Steve. That's right. Okay, so plan B is mediocrity. Be mediocre. You have to be evil. Because what Satan really wants to do, especially with good people, he wants to neutralize us. Okay? And I'm considering us all good people, right? We're all churchy people, right? We're all here. He wants to neutralize us. You can pray a little. Okay? You can do a little bit of good, help at a soup kitchen or whatever, but don't get serious about it. Don't get serious about your marriage. Don't get serious about being holy. Don't get serious about chastity. Don't get serious about prayer. Don't get serious about doing good. And mix a little evil in with it. Compromise a little, the bad kind of compromise. Cheat a little, steal a little, erode those principles, break a few commandments, hold grudges, refuse to forgive, don't ask for forgiveness. Just make it all about the externals, just keeping up appearances. Be respectable, blend in, don't rock the boat, go with the flow. Satisfy all your little cravings, be comfortable, don't inconvenience yourself. Always have something going on the side. I had this kid one time, this was in Illinois. I was talking to a confirmation group. No, actually it was youth group. And this one kid shows up like 2 or 3 times a year. They never know when he's going to show up. He just shows up. And he comes from a construction family. He wants to be a contractor. He's about 16. And he's like, really smart guy, but he's his own deal. He just gets up and walks around the room as you're talking. And every so often he asks a question. Really good question. So then he tells me his plan. I didn't ask him, but he just starts telling me his plan for his life. He stands up and he's going to be a contractor and he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to give money back to the church. He's going to get married. But he's going to have something on the side. He's telling me this, right? In front of a whole youth group. I'm like, dude, do you want to be a tool? Or do you want to be a man? He's like, okay, plan B. Don't do plan B. Okay, that was plan B. So plan B splits us within ourselves, right? Isn't that what Satan's all about? Tearing apart things that go together. We didn't do Adam and Eve, but I love to do Adam and Eve. It's so much fun, because it all started back then. As soon as we ripped ourselves away from God, we got ripped up inside ourselves. The male-female relationship went kaput. Our relationship with creation got all messed up. Fragmentation, tearing apart, splitting things that go together. That's what Satan likes to do. Love and life, male and female, pull everything aside. Satan's way is the way of boredom, limitedness, smallness, going halfway, even when we think we're being wild and cool and free. Instead, we should be a threat to Satan, like Dusty and Michelle are. And, excuse my French, but when Riley gets up every day, Satan should go, oh crap, Riley's up. Pope Francis said, the devil will let you have some fun, he'll take you to the circus, but you'll never have true joy with him. Okay? So this is how Satan works. The 4 Ds. Just like the Garden of Eden, he starts with a lie. He always starts with a lie, with deception. And then you buy the lie. If you buy the lie, you start to live the lie. And immediately it causes division in yourself and all around you. Then you have to get into diversion because you're so unhappy, and you have to pretend you're not unhappy, and you start to distract yourself, and then you get discouraged. But we can turn this around in an instant. Go back to the deception. Go back to the lie and undo the lie. You know that devotion to Our Lady, Untier of Knots, Undoer of Knots, that Pope Francis is always promulgating? Yeah. So we untie the lie. Figure out what we bought into that was not good, that caused this chain. And then live in the truth. Okay, so what is God's plan for our life? Okay, God only has one plan. It's what Janis Joplin called super hypermost. Okay? God wants you to go for the gusto. He wants you to have it all. He wants you to just have the greatest life. It's like playing a video game or skiing at the expert level. There are no other levels. We don't get to choose any other levels. It's just going for the most. Super hypermost, but without the drugs. Don't do the drugs. He wants you to take the challenge of maximum love and maximum life. There's that saying, shoot for the moon, even if you miss it, you land among the stars. So when we keep everything together in sex, love, marriage, family, babies, comfort, commitment, sacrament, fruitfulness, mutual support, past, present, future, faithfulness, trust, endurance, compassion, fun, pleasure, power, tenderness, transcendence, and immanence, it's full and rich. Our lives are full and rich. Who has the best sex when they do these polls and people report? And what I mean by that is most satisfied with their sex lives. Who? What category of people? Married? Mm-hmm. What kind of married people? What? Okay, I heard old and Christian. You're both right. Okay. So usually, again, when I'm talking to teens, it will be a guy who will say, old people. And everyone goes, ew! And then they recover. And I say, well, why did you say that? Well, because they're still together. They've been through so much together. You see them holding hands, walking down the street. Nothing more beautiful, right? You see a little old couple holding hands. And young people want that. They want that. But also religious people. Not just Christian, but religious people. Why? Because they have invited God into their marriage. And they know this is where the ecstasy is. This is where the joy is. This is where there's no limit. There's no end. This is infinity. Opening your marriage, opening your sex life to God. And ecstasy, not the drug. Okay. So, we're going to wrap this up here. A lot of drugs here today.
Maybe we should edit that out of the video.
Actually, also, married couples have more sex than people who live together. That is, unbelievable, isn't it? Because you think, well, isn't that part of the purpose of why they're living together? Okay. So, this is the holiest place on earth. Right here. What do we call that? Why is it the holiest place on earth? Because Christ himself is there in his body, blood, soul, and divinity. And only the priest can confect the Eucharist, treats the Eucharist with great care and love. This is the second holiest place on earth. It's a woman's body. Why is it the second holiest place on earth? Because it can contain life. It can contain another image of God. And so the only man that should approach a woman's body is a man who's going to treat her like Christ treats the church, lays down his life for her, loves her, treats her like the priest treats the Eucharist. And vice versa. That's the only man she should allow to approach her. Do you see how beautiful our story of sex is? God's story of sex? That's how sacred and holy sex is for us. How beautiful. How when we come together, we reveal God to each other, male to female, female to male. And we can have it. God wants us to have what we want. True love and true sex. Are we getting this message out there? No. We have to share this story of sex. Other people aren't afraid, right? They're out there telling their story of sex, right? We need to tell ours. It's better. It's true. So, does that mean every time a couple comes together, it's like a holy, reverent, sacred moment? Not necessarily. They come together for a lot of reasons. But, at the bottom of it all is love and life, and the sacrament, the image of the heavenly wedding, the image of Christ in the church, this covenant of the 5 F's of God's true love. So it doesn't matter what they're thinking about at the moment. They know what sex is really all about. They know because they got married. And this is the rock bottom. It's always there, no matter what they're doing up here. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you very much. We will take a break and be back at 2:15. Thanks.